Ooh, not too much. Happy now? Yeah, you're happy. Bodacious. Yep, bodacious sweet corn to be precise. Yeah, Ray's growing corn. Of course Ray's growing corn indoors. What else would I be doing? Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Voodoo Garden. My name is Ray. I am the host, and Bodacious is my lovely co-host of the Voodoo Garden today. It's green. Yeah, it's very green. I wanted to show you so much as it was starting out, but I wanted to give you a little bit of like before and then during and then after. And so that's why I did that thing where you just see it growing and growing and growing. Yep, these are the radishes. I'm going to show you those in a minute, but sweet corn. Yep. You know, one of the things that folks don't think about is all the different kinds of plants you can grow indoors. I grew, and if you look back on last winter, I actually grew a sunflower. Yes, a mammoth gray stripe sunflower in this Voodoo Garden right here. Yes, I did. I think it was last year. Was it last year or the year before? I don't know. Yeah, I have actually grown a sunflower in the Voodoo Garden. I'm growing corn in the Voodoo Garden. Or was it last year I grew corn? Gosh, I don't know. Well, I grew something, but I'm growing corn in the Voodoo Garden this year because I thought about it. All the different kinds of greens I want to grow. It's common thing to think, okay, well, you can grow lettuce, you can grow cabbage, you can grow even radishes for greens. I'll get into that in a minute. But you don't think about some of the different types of things, like off-center type of things that you can grow. I planted, what did I do? Oh, a pumpkin, sugar pumpkin. Those are the pumpkin seeds I sell in a little shop of seeds. Well, I thought, well, pumpkin's good. I mean, you can eat pumpkin flowers, right? So I looked it up. I wanted to make sure because I don't want to be, shoving all this poison into my body. So I looked it up, and pumpkin, every part of the pumpkin plant is edible. From the stems to the leaves to the flowers to the fruit, of course, even the roots. Every single those poor pumpkin plants. Yes, they're all delicious. So I thought, pumpkins, if you've ever grown them, you see that the leaves are huge, and they grow huge leaves right off the bat. I thought about it. Well, I have no illusions of growing an actual pumpkin here in the Voodoo Garden. It would take a lot of space. It would take a lot of time. And so that's not what I'm doing. I'm going for the leaves because I've heard that the leaves are delicious. Some of you may already know that. Well, I'm still learning. Yeah, I'm an old garden gnome, but I'm still learning. So I'm going to grow pumpkin leaves because I can have my radish leaves, my lettuce leaves, my kale, my cabbage, all the different kinds of leaves. Lettuce, I can grow pumpkin and also sweet corn leaves. Yeah, you can eat corn leaves. They're actually delicious. You take the older leaves, you mince them up, dice them up, and throw them in your cooking, and they're absolutely delicious and nutritious, and they're not going to harm you at all. So I'm thinking a little bit outside the box because it's kind of like if you were to go vegetarian or vegan, you don't just sit around eating bowls of lettuce. Those of you who are vegan and vegetarian, of course, you know this, but the omnivores like me, we don't know this. So we have to educate ourselves. And that's what I'm doing. I'm educating myself as I go and as I grow for what would be a good green to grow in a very limited space during the winter to help keep me, and the reason I'm doing this is to keep me from having to go into town and risking my health with a situation that's going on out there with the virus and stuff. I don't want to have to expose myself to any kind of danger. That's why I'm doing the indoor gardening with vegetables in the Voodoo Garden for its final season. I got all different kinds of stuff growing in here. And remember last time we were here, I just planted it. All you saw was dirt. Now let me show you what I got growing on. What a difference just a couple weeks makes. Just from tossing them in, give them a little water, and watch them grow. That's really all I've done. Except eat and eat and eat some more. Now I have been thinning these things out, but not the way I normally thin out radishes. Normally I would just pull them out and allow them room to grow and bulb and stuff. But I thought about it. I could thin them out and allow them to bulb, and I would get maybe, I don't know, a couple dozen radishes in here because they need some room in order to bulb out properly and also to leaf out to make them stronger. Whereas I thought, well, I could get one radish from each plant, or I could just let them go for leaves, crowd them in, and let them grow leaves because the leaves are very nutritious, they're delicious, and I get more of them. I get more bang for my buck from having these in a crowded environment. So that's what I've been doing. I've just been plucking off leaves. As the leaves get big, I take the biggest leaves, and then that leaves room for the ones that are down deep. See? In there, the little ones? they get the sun, or actually the artificial light, the LED, and then they get bigger. So I've been taking these, and you know, if you've grown radishes, you notice that they're a little bit pokey. But it doesn't really matter. I just roll them up, toss them in my mouth, and they're delicious. Now you can take these, and I will be taking these. Today's harvest, I'm going to take up and I'm going to wilt them and do some stir-fried chicken over the top of them in place of like spinach or kale or any other kind of green. I'm going to use radish greens. They do have a little bit of a radishy flavor to the leaves, but not a strong flavor. More like, I'd say, spinach. Yeah, you can compare these with more of a slightly spicy spinach. And so what I'm doing is I'm just going to pluck off the leaves from all of these. I'm going to go through all of these, and then of course the other ones. I don't know which is which. I have a tag buried in there somewhere, but I think the radishes ate them. They all look about the same. White icicle, crimson, and French breakfast. Now, one of the things I did notice about these is that they suck up the water like you wouldn't believe, because they're in a limited environment, just those shallow pans. So I do have to water these every 2 days and give them a good saturation. Down at the bottom, I'm going to show you what they look like. They're not really bulbing out that much. Some of them are trying to, like say right down here. Yep. It's trying to bulb out. And then as I pull off all the leaves on some of them, I'm going to yank them out of the soil and give the last ones room to bulb up. If they do, they do. If not, I'm more than satisfied with the greens. Just 3 tubs of these is keeping us in greens for the last week. The last week I've been plucking off leaves as fast as I can, and we've been eating them as fast as we can. It's not that we're getting tired of them, it's just that we're kind of at peak capacity for eating these things. So I don't know what we're going to do with them once they get a little bit too much. I might just throw them in soups, because if you dice them up, they'll wilt up really small, and I can throw them in soups to add a little bit of a radishy flavor. As we stand up, a little jerky today. I don't know why. I think I had too much coffee. All right, over here, this one is beautiful too, and it tastes great. This is Michihili Asian cabbage, and it does tend to form slightly looser heads, but not tight heads like a regular bok choy. No, this one has more of a leafy texture to it. Look at that. Wow. That's just a baby too. This is only a couple weeks old. Yeah, a couple weeks old, and the leaves are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It was just one plant. And so what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to harvest from the bottom up. As I snip these things off, I'm going to probably be doing them about, I don't know, maybe 1 every 2 days. 1 leaf, and then I have another one, by the way, somewhere. And so I'm going to be taking a leaf off each one of those and using them as greens. I've tasted this one, arugula. Have you ever grown arugula? I've never grown it in my life. And so I'm assuming if it grows outside, it's going to do a lot better than this. Now keep in mind, these are only 2 weeks old. And I tasted the leaves on these, and I don't know how to explain it other than pleasant. It doesn't taste like spinach, doesn't taste like lettuce. It's a whole different flavor. And I gotta say, I like this. I may end up putting this in my garden outside in the future. I don't know, it depends on what my garden's going to be like, but I actually like it. Some people love it, some people don't like it. I'm on the like squad. Yep. And this isn't much to look at, but this is the gourmet lettuce. Now, gourmet lettuce that we sell is a mix. It's you never know what you're going to get. You get all different kinds of lettuce in there. I only let 2 of them grow. I put in a little pinch of seeds, and the first 2 that came out, ooh, there's 3. That little bugger snuck right in there. You know, there's another one right down there. They took a little while to sprout. I thought they'd sprout a little bit sooner, but they grow really fast. They start out really weak, and you see this little tiny thing, and you're like, oh, it's never going to go. And then one day you come in, boom, you got lettuce, and it's going to be a beauty too. So my other greens are taking the place of the lettuce for now, but once the lettuce kicks in, I'll be picking out on lettuce. Oh, there it goes. Darn it. This is a real mess. This is the cactus. Holiday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, who knows. I had one lady actually get angry with me. She said, you need to educate your viewers and tell them the right thing. I said, I don't have to do anything. I'll just call it whatever I want. I'll call it Spot. So yeah, I think, you know what? This is Spot. This is my cactus. It's a succulent, and it's still flowering. It went in full bloom. Oh, it was incredible. And now the flowers are dying. Thing about these, this thing's in my hand. Hold on. Yep, I eat while I talk. Don't like it? Don't listen. This is a beautiful creature to have in your house, and especially around the holiday seasons. They are stunning. And yet, stunning turns into a bit of an issue once the flowers wilt off and die. And they will do that. That's just how they do it naturally. They start dropping these things, and it's raining flowers all over my plants. Thing is, it's not a waste. I take these flowers and and I toss them in the pots. Yep, they will decompose. The soil organisms will just take them into the soil, and it'll enrich the soil. Also, one nice thing is they get pollinated. Some folks are really surprised that these will actually produce something. Yes, they will. Look at that. That is the base of the flower, and I pollinated it. It has regular flower parts. You just tickle them, and yes, you can get a seed pod off of these and actually grow them from seed. Most people don't think about that. They just think that you take little cuttings and grow them. Not so. There's something else I got to show you. This is where everything's growing. I put my lights a little bit different than I used to. I used to just have them hooked up to the ceiling. Now I have them on chains, and I can change the height of the light instead of using containers to bring them up as much. I still use containers, but I've also been using these chains for when the plants get bigger, I can adjust them accordingly. This one over here, Prax cherry. Yep, look at that. It's only been up for a couple days, and look at that. I think that's 3 days worth of growth. This little cherry plant is some kind of trooper. Those of you who have grown it, you know it is one of the strongest, most prolific cherry tomato plants you'll ever grow. This is the start. This one I'm going to grow all throughout the winter here in the Voodoo Garden. Then I'm going to take cuttings, root them before spring, and then outside I'm going to grow a whole host of these and save seeds for the little shop of seeds. So yeah, this is the one. And down here, this is something you don't normally see. I'm just going to go through a couple of these. I'm not going to go through all of them. This is actually, what is this? Crimson clover. I had the hardest time with this. It's not that they don't germinate. They do germinate beautifully. I sprinkled in a few seeds. They germinated, and then something happened with the soil. Of course, when you get bagged soil from the store, you never know what you're going to get. Yep, it was one of those things. One of my bags of soil, and I don't know which one it was because I was just planting like crazy. One of them had a soil fungus in it, and I didn't catch it soon enough. So you can see all the little corpses all over the place. Yep, they died out. I hit it with a peroxide water mixture. I think it was like 1 tablespoon peroxide to a cup of water or something like that. Anyway, I watered the soil to kill the fungus in the soil, and the ones that were growing are coming out. I'm not going to use these for seeds. I'm going to see if I can get flowers from them, because the flowers are supposed to make great eating and also great tea. Then we have alfalfa. You know, alfalfa sprouts, you know, the seeds that you get and do alfalfa sprouts. I just took one, and I'm growing the actual alfalfa plant. I want to see how the leaves taste. I've never actually eaten alfalfa, so I want to find out what all the hubbub is and why cows like it so much. Snow peas. Yep. I just love watching their little arms reach out. Yeah, you just want to hold on to them. These are hopefully going to grow up. I think I got three of them in here. Once they get their wind beneath their leaves, they're going to just start going up and grabbing onto everything. They're going to move from this light because I don't want them grabbing the light. Cilantro. Yep, little tiny cilantro. And I don't know what that one is. Oh, this is kale. Yep, blue curled kale, the little baby. He's just starting out. You know, one of the things I had a problem with, and I didn't have it last summer, I grew a Swiss chard to monstrous proportions, and growing them in this soil, look at that. That is not much to look at, is it? Yeah, I planted 3 different pots of these, and that's the only one that I got to grow. It was the soil fungus. As strong as those plants are when you're growing them, as babies, they are incredibly weak. Yeah, I got little Bates collards back there. I'm going to have me some collard greens. Yep, I'm going to be mixing all these greens up. The kale, the collards, the michihili, all of these things are going to be tossed together. See, I'm not going to just sit and eat one kind of green. My plan is to have a mix of them so that I can grow them all eat them all together and just have a more of a variety. Because growing indoors does not have to be just a matter of one thing. It can be a whole bunch of different stuff. No smell yet, but eventually it will. Corn. Corn smells so good. You know, I live in Iowa. You know that. I live in western Iowa. Rolling hills of corn as far as the eye can see. The farmers grow corn out here. And I gotta say, whether you like cornfields, soybean fields, you think of GMO and all that stuff that goes on with farmers, all the bad stuff that some people bring up when it comes to crops. One of the good things I find is that when they grow corn, you can smell it in the air. You can smell the corn leaves in the air, and that's a fun smell. I've grown sweet corn. I actually grew bodacious, and I've grown early sunglow, the two kinds of corn I sell on Little Shop of Seeds. I've grown them out in the garden, and the smell, when I go out there to water them and I walk amongst them, you just rub up against them, the smell is fantastic. Oh, it's wonderful. I am big into smells. Now, one of the things that you may notice, if you go, one last little thing I want to tell you about is, I'm growing a little bodacious over here. If you ever go to my website, my seed site, and the link is below here, go to the Little Shop of Seeds just for the heck of it. You don't have to buy anything at all. I just want to show you, okay? When you look at the radishes, the French breakfast radish, okay, the bodacious sweet corn, and what is it, Brussels sprouts, and I think that's it. But I know there's actually more, but I can't remember them right now. Look at those three: the bodacious sweet corn. The photo on there is of my sweet corn. Yeah, I didn't just take a photo off the internet or from my seed supplier. No, I took actual pictures of my corn that I grew here in my garden outside, and that's the photo on that crop. Same thing with the French breakfast radish, and what else was there I mentioned? I forgot what it was. Oh, Brussels sprouts. They look like dinosaur plants, something from the prehistoric era. It's just beautiful the way plants grow. It never ceases to amaze me. Well, that's all I got for today. I hope you enjoyed yourself. If you have any questions whatsoever, post it in the comment section below. I will be sure to get back to you. And of course, I'm going to be back, I don't know when, probably in a week, 2 weeks, something like that, to give you a further update on all the stuff that's growing in the Voodoo Garden. I hope you'll tune in. Thanks, everybody. And I guess that's it. Until next time, this is Ray and his green little friends. We're out of here.